Hi everyone, it's Linnea. Welcome back to another card in my Valentine's Day card series. I'll be using my Simon Says Stamp card kit again, and I'm going to start with the piece of Tim Holtz watercolor paper that came in the kit. I'm going to be embossing on it, so I'm applying my EK Success powder tool, and then I'm going to grab the stamp that says, "Will you be my Valentine?" I just love the script on this stamp. It's probably my favorite one in the whole stamp set. I'm going to use my embossing ink, and then I'll stamp that down in the bottom right-hand corner of my card. I'll be using the Simon Says Stamp clear embossing powder that came in the kit. I'm just going to grab the little spoon and sprinkle some on, and then I'll be heating that with my heat tool. Next, I have a little container of water, and I'm going to be using the paintbrush that came in the kit, and I'm just going to apply some water where I want my gelato to go. So I'm just applying water to pretty much that whole bottom right-hand side of my watercolor paper. And I've never used gelatos, so I didn't really know what to do, so I kind of Googled a little bit of how to use these, and this seemed to be the easiest way to do it. So I just took the cap off, and I scribbled some of that gelato paint down onto my card over my sentiment, because I wanted when I add water and kind of smooth that paint out, I wanted my sentiment to kind of pop out. So here you can see as I add water and smooth over that paint, my sentiment is becoming clearer and clearer. Now, when I did this, it wasn't really giving me the intensity that I wanted, so I dried that with my heat tool, and now I'm adding just a little bit more of gelato in the same way, just applying it right directly to my watercolor paper. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to kind of smoosh out the paint, and this gives me a much more vibrant look, and my sentiment stands out even more. So I've taken a die from Spellbinders, and it's a little bit bigger than a postage stamp, but it has that postage stamp edge. And I'm going to be stamping some of the sentiments from the stamp set onto the papers, and I'm going to be embossing them in gold embossing powder. And I thought I would use my spoon, but it turns out it was just a whole lot easier just to dunk that whole piece down into my embossing powder. So once I have them covered in the Recollections Detail Gold embossing powder, I'll just heat them up. And then I've arranged them on my watercolor paper the way I think I want them to go. So I'm going to be using my Tombow Stamp Runner adhesive, and I'm just going to stick each one of those down onto the card. And I usually use my ATG runner, but I found it was getting in the way of my camera process, so I've switched to this smaller one just for when I do videos. I'm going to be trimming off a bit of the watercolor paper because I wanted there to be a little bit of a border on my card. So I'm trimming down 1/8 of an inch from the left-hand side where those postage stamp images are, and then also trimming 1/8 of an inch off of the top. So I applied some tape runner adhesive to the back of that watercolor paper, and then I thought that I wanted to pop it up with dimensionals. But I didn't want the tape to stick and end up being just flat on the paper anyway, so I'm taking my powder tool and I'm deactivating all that adhesive that's on there. That way I can add some foam dots to the back of my card and then stick that onto my Nina top folding card base. And that way it just gives a little bit of dimension to this super simple card. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining me for another card in my Valentine's Day card series. Be sure to head over to my blog for more inspiration. Bye!